Welcome everyone back to Fight Logic here in the studio. I am Juan, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. Michael Wilhoite. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Fight Logic, obviously MMA, but we're always down for every fight, and we are big 49ers fans, so it's awesome to have you here. And you know, more, it's like we like to see people and what they've gone through, their little missions in life and everything, and how they get to the places that they are. So awesome. Thanks again for having us. So let's talk about yourself and everything about you.
Yes, sir.
So where you come from?
I'm from Kansas. I'm originally from Manhattan, Kansas, born and raised. The land of the Wildcats, K-State.
Nice.
Moved up to Topeka, finished my high school career in Topeka, Kansas at Highland Park High School, little 5A, about 1,100 kids in the school. And finished there, and then went to Washburn, D2 school, and then, you know, Omaha, now here.
So Manhattan, Kansas isn't like Manhattan.
Yeah, it's in Manhattan. It's in Manhattan. It's a small town.
Yeah, how big is Manhattan, Kansas?
It's small, man. Probably it's actually kind of big because it's a college town. It's Kansas State's there, located there, so it's all those college students. But mostly in terms of your town people, the people that are, you know, kids and grown-ups that are born and raised there, not very many, man. I couldn't even tell you a count, but less than a college probably, or maybe a little more than a big college. You know, not very much though. I mean, everybody knows everybody. You know, if you make a name for yourself, whether you're doing something good or bad, people are gonna know and people are gonna remember it. So it can be good and bad in a way, you know what I mean? And you know, and Topeka's a little bit bigger. It's the capital, so it's a little bit bigger. Has a little bit more diversity. You know, you got about 6 high schools there that are all about 5 or 6As is the way they do it there. So 5As usually about 1,100, like I said. 6As about 1,500 to 2,000. So you have 5 or 6 of those schools. So you have a lot more kids, a lot more spread out, and then you also have Washburn University, the Division II school that I went to there. So you got a bigger population there, but at the same time, it's still not anything like you find here in California, like San Jose, or even probably even Santa Clara. So it's a little bit of a change, but you know, I like it.
Yeah, that's good though. You know, that just shows you know what you are. So how'd you get into football? Was it just something that you're like?
I loved it from a kid. You know, I grew up in a trailer park, and it was a bunch of kids out there every day playing. Nice. And I mean, we play basketball, football, and baseball all in one day. And we, you know, go to the pool at the end or go to the pool before. And football was like my main thing. That was the thing I loved to do. You know, it was like I can remember like the back of my hand, like it was just so fun to me. And I was always better than everybody, even the kids that were 5 and 6 years older than me. My brother was always 6 years older than me. And I'd play with his friends, and I'd school them. So for the longest, that was my thing. I got into basketball, loved basketball too, still love basketball, but my thing was just football. Like I loved football. And then I remember I came home one day from the pool actually, and there was a newspaper clipping on the table of a Pop Warner football team, you know, youth 10 and 10 and under, and called my mom because she was at work, and you know, asked her what it was. You know, I'm sitting there kind of in shock, kind of hoping it is what it is, a Pop Warner tackle football team. You know, didn't even get to play flag, so I'm just hoping, you know, this is what it is. Called her, she says yes it is, and you know, you got to pay $150 to get in for the equipment and the travel, and I was in it, man. And right from then, I just, you know, took off with it. I loved it. Every game I played was like, you know, it was never one of those things where I think a lot of kids now they go to play sports and it's like they almost have to go, or their parents are making them go. It was never like that for me. It was always like, I can't wait to go. Like, I want to go to the game. I can't wait to get there. So I loved it, man, from the beginning, and just always been pretty good at it. You know, I got into high school, was a pretty good player. Obviously went to a Division II school, so I wasn't like, you know, Bo Jackson or anything like that, obviously, but I was a pretty good player, and, you know, just worked hard. I just made my work ethic make up for all the things I was missing, whether it be speed or strength or size, you know, athletic ability, anything, talent. I just let my work ethic develop all those things, you know, and I felt like it has, and it's got me here now, so I'm thankful.
Yeah, exactly. So you developed that work ethic like right out the get-go. You're like, hey, I'm going to do this. No one's going to force me to do this. I'm doing this because I want to do this. And it just goes to show when you have a dream, when you know you have something that you're striving for, it goes to show that, you know, you could do whatever you want to do. Yeah. So, like compared to everybody else, you're like, I'm in there. Because I mean, I heard some stories, about, you just training. You're like, you train before you go training.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've always been. It's funny because even when I was in college, that's when when I really took off, man. My redshirt year didn't go the way I wanted. I redshirted, and then my redshirt freshman year didn't play a lot, and I was just so motivated to play. I felt like the guys that were playing in front of me weren't as good, and I felt like I had the talent to be on the field. But honestly, it was really, like I always say, everything happens for a reason, and there was a reason why I wasn't on the field at that time. And I think that it was to develop that work ethic and that motivation and that drive in me and that competitiveness. And and I think I always had it, like you said, but I didn't know how to channel it. I didn't know where to put it and when to do it, and have the ideas to, okay, when we get done lifting with the team, I'm gonna stay in for another 45 minutes and do some extra stuff on my own, or I'm gonna come in early and get my ab work in and my, a little bit of cardio in before we start, and then, I just started trusting people around me, started asking questions, started doing a lot of research. I had a guy in college that helped me a lot with my diet, had me eating the egg whites and stuff like that, and had me, taking, started getting me on some creatine, started getting me on just vitamins, period. He introduced me to fish oil, vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium, just the bare minimal, vitamins, but the things you need. And then, I just developed that drive, and I just saw, my body changing with the work ethic and the extra work I was putting in. And and before long, I realized that extra work and those vitamins and that the diet was what was taking me to the next level, that was separating me from all the competition.
So you could see it, you could feel it?
Yeah, exactly. Could see it, feel it. Every time I looked in the mirror, I knew it was coming. I was gaining weight, but I was still remaining, with the same speed I had when I was 180 pounds to 210 pounds.
Oh,
and
wow.
It just kept going, and I just kept using it, kept fueling me. And one thing I say about work ethic, when I was talking to some kids just the other day, everybody talks about work ethic, but what makes you want to have a work ethic? What makes you want to work hard? And for me, it's just being competitive.
Nice.
I've always been a competitor, and I've always looked at my brother or whoever else I'm going against as, I want to be better than them no matter what. I never compared myself to the guys I was playing with in Division II because I knew that wouldn't put me in the NFL. So I always compared myself to, at that time, who you guys know around here real well, was Brian Cushion, Clay Matthews, Ray Maluga. Those were the three best linebackers in football. And, right down the street from here, so I just always compare myself to them coming out. Am I almost as big as those guys? Am I as fast as those guys? And then can I be faster? Can I be bigger? So that was my goal, man. And then, it just, skyrocketed from there.
Well, that shows a lot, and especially how you're saying that, you're talking to the kids about that. When you want it, when that, like you don't hold yourself here. Why hold yourself here, right?
Exactly.
When you can push through. And it's good to say, hey, I like how he's doing it and how he's doing it, because that's how I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't have that drive, that extra push, then, it's gonna be stagnant, right? It's just gonna stay there. So, okay, so you're in college, now you've been working out, now you're taking all your, you're doing the vitamins, you're actually seeing all these changes. So then what happens? Because you redshirted, right? And then then what happens?
I actually played 2 years, started one, and then I actually got hurt, or started two, and then got hurt going into my senior year. I had 2 stress fractures, basically from overwork. I mean, I was in the gym. I remember it was a winter break before my senior year, and I felt that urgency. That this is my last year of college football. This could be the last time I ever play football, period. And I was just in the gym nonstop. I mean, I lived in the gym for winter break. I mean, our winter break was like 5 weeks, and I was probably in there 2 or 3 times a day just by myself, nobody else in there. Because, most people on winter break in college go home, but I just stayed there, and I just, I'm from Topeka. I'm right there, so I can just go anytime I want. I just was in there nonstop and just doing a lot of things that probably wasn't smart, but I just knew it was just hard work and it was killing me, so why not do it, So ended up getting some stress fractures, actually in both shins, to the point where I would try to run, man, and I'd be basically in tears, like I couldn't do it. And so I took off all of July going into that year, and then tried to go into camp in August fresh, and still didn't work. I think first practice was great. Second practice, it was almost like I couldn't even move.
Yeah.
So I remember telling coach, and I remember bawling to him, like, in practice, walking over to him crying because it just hurt so bad because I knew not only could I not play that year, but I couldn't even play that day. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't practice in camp with my teammates who were out here killing themselves, dying, sacrificing everything for us to be great, and I can't even do that, let alone thinking I'm not going to be able to play for, 11 games. So, ended up sitting out that year. Had one of my best friends actually tore his ACL for the second time in the second game. So we just kind of made a pact. We were going to work as hard as we could, and we were going to try to make this senior year our next year. We medical redshirted both and came back that next year. We just made a pact that we were going to make it the best we could and just have fun with it, but work hard, and work smart, and that's what I learned is that year. That's one of the things, biggest things I learned with being injured was how to work hard but work smart, and how to train the body, but stay healthy at the same time. And so we just worked hard all off season. During the season while everybody else is playing, we're in the weight room. I remember I'd lift in the weight room while the team was doing their warm up during the game, and I'd walk out on the field right before the game, sweaty and everything, just from doing my workout. Felt like if they're gonna play in the game, I got to get my workout in and feel like I play. So ended up coming back that next senior year, played really well, had some really good games. We had a pretty good team. Was pretty good player, played DN to outside linebacker to free safety. Then that year finished and was going to the NFL, had an agent, didn't know what was going on, went to a Division II All-Star game down in San Antonio, Texas, Corpus Christi, right down there, real south, down in Corpus Christi. Did really well there, got a lot of attention from scouts. Then I go home, train in Kansas City, go to a pro day in K-State. Did really well there, got some attention. Draft comes around, I get a call from a few teams in the late 6th, 7th round saying they're going to draft me. Nothing ever happened, obviously. So then a lockout kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
So then once the lockout kicked in, it was just training. So I was in Kansas City training and blessed enough to train with a lot of Chiefs players. A lot of Chiefs players were there. So we trained together, and every day it was like they'd just be like, man, you can play. Like you can move, you're athletic, you're strong. And they all just looked at me like, man, you got a real shot, man.
So how's that feel when you have, pro NFL players telling you that?
It's good, man. It reinforces the confidence you have. You always have the confidence, but, you played a Division II school. I played Division II school, so I'm looking at it like, I think I can, but I don't really know. You know what I mean? When I'm watching that game on TV and the way it's publicized and the way the media talks about it, it's fast, it's violent. It's going to be tough to get in there and play that game. I also had a buddy, Kerry Williams, who plays with the Philadelphia Eagles now, who at the time was with the Tennessee Titans and then with the Baltimore Ravens. So I would talk to him, and he would kind of reinforce it to me too, and be like, man, you can play, like you can do it, and it just felt good because it was like, then I really started believing like I can do this, I can, whether they draft me or not, I know if I get a shot, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to show them what's up.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I went and tried out for a UFL team in Omaha, ended up making the team, played there 5 games, and then was at home for a month and a half. Actually started thinking about career choices and what I wanted to do. And then lo and behold, I think it was in December, second week of December, because right after my birthday, got a call from the 49ers to come out here and try out and made the team.
Nice. Dude,
Yeah.
Here, look at you. Props on that.
Appreciate
That's good, dude. It shows, right? That work ethic, to be able to keep fighting for your dream, to and taking what people are telling you, and actually absorbing it and saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
So okay, so were you thinking about having a little MMA when you're like, I might do a career change? Or you thinking about MMA?
I never really thought about going into MMA. I always felt like just knowing the sport and watching it, I always felt like the guys that were best, they always got into it early. They always did jiu-jitsu at a young age, or guys were wrestlers growing up, or college wrestlers, or guys were boxers growing up, you know what I mean? And I didn't have any of that background. And not saying you can't get into it late, because obviously I feel like at my store, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. But I just knew it would be very difficult. You know what I mean? It'd be very hard to go into a sport that, it would, I've never even explored in terms of a profession.
Yeah.
At the age of 22, 23, and then trying to do that and trying to be a professional at it, I feel like it'd just be very difficult.
I'll just be a fan instead.
Yeah.
Even though you could, I'm sure if you wanted to.
I always wished I'd have like at least tried boxing or
Yeah.
something, or wrestling, you know what I mean? And I know like when I have kids, I like to put them in one or the other, just because I feel like not only is it a very good workout, but it teaches you a lot of different things that you don't learn in basketball or football or baseball, you know what I mean? So
well-rounded.
No, I never explored it as a profession, just a hobby, something I love to watch, something, I buy the fights when I'm at home by myself, and I've been thinking about what I'm gonna do tonight, if I'm gonna just buy them and, watch them by myself at the house, or, because everybody always wants to go to a bar, man, but it's like a bar's too packed. I can't really focus on the fights, man. I want to focus. I want to be able to sit down and stare at the fights and watch and like dissect it.
Because you're scientific.
Yeah, but if I'm in a bar, like it's just too many people moving, I gotta stand, I gotta sit, I'd rather just watch the fights, man. But no, I never explored this profession, but I do enjoy watching and love.
So you're not coming back like Herschel Walker?
No, that's yeah, he's a different situation, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a different situation. So
So
it'd definitely be a hobby, but never a profession.
Yeah, so because when we heard like, hey, that you're a big MMA fan and stuff, we're like, oh, Niners MMA, that's like a match made in heaven. You got to come on down. So you watch it. So now I want to go fast forwarding back to now you get the phone call and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go play for the 49ers. Now I always bring when Uriah, we bring all the pros and we've asked. I always like to ask them. So tell me about the first time you were in a cage, and what was your experience, with the lights and everything. And so what was your first experience now as a 49er? Like the first time you walk out there at Candlestick.
In Candlestick, well, my first time obviously was on practice squad.
Yeah.
And it was that next week we played the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday night. Actually, the lights went out in that game.
Yeah.
And it was pretty electrifying, man. It was like, but you know what? I was standing there watching the game, and I remember I lived with a guy you guys would remember, Blake Costanzo.
Yeah,
I lived with him and Joe Hastings. Joe was also my best friend from Washburn that I talked about, who tore his ACL.
Yeah.
We both ended up playing for the 49ers. So,
wow.
But anyway,
sick. You're packed. Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy story. Pretty, faith is something else. But anyway, so I'm standing there watching, and I looked at Blake and I said, "This is it?" And he said, "This is it, man." And that's when I knew, like, I can play this game. Like, if I learn how to play it, I have the athletic ability and talent and toughness, but I have to understand the nuances of playing special teams and defense and playing linebacker. I have to understand the game. And once I learned the game, I knew I could play.
Nice.
So, but it was, and I remember that was week 13, and then we played in Seattle, and that was an amazing game. I mean, every game at that time was just, to me was like an outer body experience. It was almost like I couldn't even register what was going on. And it's still like there's games I'll go out there and it's like that. It's just like you kind of got to look around and just sit there and just think, pinch
yourself, huh?
And just thank God for putting you in a situation. Like, thank you for putting me here. This is an awesome experience, and just enjoy it and cherish it, man. So, no, man, I mean, it's, the best way to describe it, I tell everybody, it's like riding a roller coaster.
Ooh, nice.
Going all week, you're going up to the top. It's when you're first taking off, and you're kind of going real slow. Exactly, and you're going up, and you're getting nervous because you're kind of scared, kind of nervous, but you're anxious at the same time. Like, I can't wait to do this, but at the same time, kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen when we take off. And then once you get to the top, it's like that Sunday. You're walking out on the field. You're warming up, you're looking at the other team, you sizing them up because you can see the bottom, like you're at the top, you're looking down, getting ready to take off, and then right when you kick off is like right when you hit, right when you go down, man, and it's like you're just running full speed and just, eyes wide and just ready to hit anything.
You're making my little hairs pop up thinking about it.
So to me, I mean, that's the best way to describe it to everybody, man, is that's the feeling of playing in the NFL football game. Like, you don't get the feeling in anything else but riding a roller coaster, jumping out of a plane, snowboarding or something like that, where you really feel like you don't know what's gonna happen. You just gotta go. You just gotta take off and let everything fall in place.
Awesome.
So that's how I look at it.
And I was watching, because I was watching, and I check out 49ers.com, and I was watching you and the Chargers, and they had you where you were mic'd up. Oh man, that was, dude, your intensity. It's just like, boom, boom. And I was like, I like
focus.
Man. Yeah, that's that focus.
Focus. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, we could touch on, but focus is like something you tell kids, like you have to be able to focus, man. I feel like people, sometimes can't focus on one thing or just stay in the moment. You know what I mean? And if you could stay in the moment, you can focus. My high school basketball coach, Ken Darning, always said, if you can focus on the moment or you can focus on what's happening right now, you can really come up with powerful things, you know what I mean? And do powerful things. But so many times everybody's moving so fast, we're all over the place, and it's hard to focus on one thing. But it's just like, that's the beauty of football camp, in August, is that you're there for 6 weeks and you're able to focus. That's all you do every day. So now just focus on what's going on right then and there. And that's the beauty of it. That's when you see people either fall off because they can't focus or they're not prepared, or you see people take off.
They get into that zone, right?
Yeah,
you get
exactly.
Into the proverbial zone that they call
it.
Yep.
But Magic, Larry, Michael, those guys could do the best, better than anybody.
I mean, and that's such a true statement. I mean, we're in a society now too, especially, it's really easy to lose your focus. It's like really easy to, something coming in and out. If you don't pay full attention to that. And it's interesting how you say that it was something that, your basketball coach taught you in high school. And it's such true words that now as a professional, you still, and you're teaching, kids that are watching this right now are like, okay, they're taking something from it. And so you go and talk to schools?
Oh, yeah. Definitely always go home. I go home in the off season back to Kansas, and I go up to Topeka and talk to my high school.
Nice.
Or I'll go talk to schools around the area in Kansas City, stuff like that. Or any time I can get around some kids, man, I'm always willing to talk, sign autographs, and take pictures, man, because kids, I just remember as a kid myself, if I'd have ever met just anybody that said they even were a part of an organization in the NFL, it was just like, I don't know what I'd have did, So now I can just imagine when a kid comes up to me, I see me as just me. I'm just a regular guy. I still do the same things. I still go to the gym, work out. I'll go to, 24-hour fitness. I'll go anywhere and just work out and do my thing. Throw on some headphones. Whites. Yeah, drink my egg whites, eat my grapefruit. Just a regular guy. But at the same time, that's not how kids look at us. And so, you wanna make that kid's dream come true, or and if you can, in the meantime, throw him a little advice, or just give him a little something to think about, in his meantime. And some kids, they'll take it and run with it. Some kids won't even hear you, you know what I mean? But at the same time, just that one or two kids that do hear you, that's all that matters, man. That makes it worth it. So
yeah, I've been working with the Mayor's Gang Task Force here from San Jose and doing some other stuff, and that's how we see it too. We get a bunch of people on talking about their stories and stuff, and if we can help that one kid that's watching, that one person, and it really shows a lot. I mean, I saw you back there, earlier, signing your autographs, and I was like, man, he's cool. Yeah, that's good. You got to give time, right?
Exactly, and you got to remain who you are. I always say, the number and the team that I play for, that's what I do. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Who I am is Michael Wilhoite, and who I am is what's inside of me, not what's outside of me, and not the jersey and pads I put on. That's just something I do, for a living, and something I love to do and have fun to do, but that's not who I am.
Yeah, and your organization, I know, because I used to work and film a lot of this stuff on Tuesdays. You guys do a lot of stuff working with youth. I mean, building bikes and going to different schools and things like that. So that's awesome. That's great. Always giving back. And I bet it feels good to go back to your town and talk. And now, you said, you've seen those kids and you're lighting up that eye in them, and that little bright fire. That's cool. Yeah. So how excited now? We're almost getting done. I mean, that's crazy, huh? Almost 30 minutes goes like that. So now, how excited are you to be ready to be playing in Levi now?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm just excited that it's closer. It's a bittersweet, man, because Candlestick was it's legendary. I mean, I remember the first time, for that Steelers game, when I walked down the hallway, and I'm just thinking of all the players that have walked down this hallway, all the guys that have, you know, because it's real cold in there, that have walked through there and, you know, in sweats and, you know, in their uniform cold and just getting, you know, breathing, you know, that air and ready to play, you know. So I'm just, it's bittersweet, you know. Candlestick is Candlestick, you know. It's legendary. It'll always remain legendary in a lot of people's mind, a lot of fans' mind. But at the same time, always, you know, change is always good, you know, and I think Levi Stadium will be good for us. It'll be good because it's closer. Hopefully we'll still have a great fan base.
Oh, yeah, you know
that. The same fan base, you know. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about the, you know, the new grass, the, you know,
all that fresh stuff.
A football stadium, you know, not a baseball stadium converted.
Concert,
you know what I mean?
baseball stadium.
Yeah, so I'm excited, man. I can't wait to get in there and you know, set it off, man.
Nice.
And do my thing. So.
Well, we're almost out of time. Is there anything that you want to, you know, if you're giving saying anything to anyone that's watching at home, you know, and also maybe your Facebook or anything like that, or anything, any organizations or anything you're helping? Just go ahead. And
Facebook's just my name. Twitter's just my name, Michael.Wilhoite, or Michael Wilhoite. Instagram, Michael W16. So that's really it, man. I like to say, you know, good luck to the fighters tonight. Can't wait to watch it. I mean, I think it's going to be, you know, legendary. I think anytime Silva gets out there, it's you know, it's going to be fun to watch, and he's an amazing athlete. So I can't wait to watch Teixeira and Jones go at it, man.
Oh, it's going to be exciting.
I think Jones and Teixeira will be a great fight, so I can't wait to watch it.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Next time we talked about your history, and now everyone knows about you, and they're going to even love you more. And next time we're going to have we'll have some fighters here, and we'll talk more about some fighting and maybe going through some fighting training or something. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. As always, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Remember, you know, we obviously learned with Michael today. If you have the drive, you have that dream, keep your focus, and, you know, you could do it. You know, remember, you know, don't hold yourself down. Put yourself up, because when you put yourself up, then that's where you'll be. You're watching Fight Logic TV. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you, Michael. And keep watching.